Today we're in Morialta Conservation Park and we're walking into the climbing area known as Crag. The group actually is working in 4 different climbing areas within the park, but today we're going down to this one because this is the one that we got the grant money through the Hills and Fleurieu Landscape Board to revegetate the area that we have previously cleared of blackberry. Within Morialta Conservation Park there are a number of what's called designated climbing areas. And designated climbing areas are the only places that you're legally allowed to climb within conservation parks, within any of our parks. And they're gazetted through the Government Gazette as designated climbing areas in our protected zones. There's a whole variety of people that climb in the area. You get people like my partner and myself, well, for him almost over 40 years. You get people who are members of climbing clubs, people who are coming out with schools, with universities, anyone who climbs. And then there's of course the Friends of Black Hill and Morialta members, and they help as well. When we set Crag Care up, we really hoped that we could just improve conditions for the climbers, but the climbing community have really embraced the project and it's grown and grown, and we have now cleared most of the weeds from above all of the cliffs, all the way from the entrance where you walked in this morning through to the top of this crag. So all the way along there we've cleared a lot of the environmental weeds, the main woody weeds. And we've started working on descent routes, the base of the cliffs, and in fact earlier this year the team started working on the access route through to the cliffs on the other side of the creek, which is an enormous area, really. It's just been so incredibly successful to watch all of the thousands of olives disappear from the tops of these cliffs. That's really important too, because this is more or less the olive front within Morialta, coming down the hill, coming down from our good bush to our lower quality bush. We've really just transformed this area and taken the good stuff and made it better. Oh, well, like all of our conservation parks, they're threatened by the weeds that have been introduced by mostly the European settlers. They've been spreading throughout the hills ever since colonisation, really. Certainly the blackberry at the base of these cliffs has been there for at least 50 years, and we know that because the climbers have been climbing here for 50 years and they had to cut through the blackberry to get to the base of the cliffs. We're continuing the work along the base of Crag, removing the environmental weeds which are smothering our local natives. We're here doing a bit of follow-up work to make sure that we're ready to put in the plants that are going to be provided to us using the funds from the Hills and Fleurieu Landscape Board grant that was given to the Climbing Club of South Australia.
Today I'm just trying to cut away some of the blackberry that's growing back onto the path, and we're also drilling and filling some olives because you can't kill olives just by cutting them.
What we're planting back in here are the species that you can find along this area already. We did go through and with our local ecologist and work out what the best of those were. A lot of them are the ones that you can find along the top of the cliff. As we walked in, the habitat at the top of the cliff is excellent. There are no weeds left up there except for perhaps a few feral grasses, but other than that it's wonderful, and we really want it to cascade down the hill and move all the way to the creek.
I'm the Senior Ranger of Morialta Conservation Park, and I manage all things that go on in the park, and one of those things is volunteers and biodiversity management. So I work really closely with the Friends of Black Hill and Morialta, and here with the Crag Care project I'm making sure that we're working towards park priorities for biodiversity and also visitor management priorities, because this area is frequented by climbers. We have people coming here every day of the week to rock climb, and some of these weeds get in the way of what they want to do here at the site, but also we're wanting to restore this area so it can be more natural and get it back to what it might have looked like pre-European settlement and pre the introduction of some of the weeds here. We also have some really threatened species around this area of the park that we'd like to protect and make sure that they have really good habitat to live in so they can thrive.
I've been climbing here since I was a teenager. I've done a little bit of bush care with school actually. Never really liked the weeds, the sight of them, and they also get in the way of climbing, so that was a problem.
I just feel really peaceful. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it, it's just really nice and calming.
I'm not actually a rock climber, but I like coming to the working bees just to see different parts of the park and getting out as much as I can. I find it quite satisfying. I feel like I'm making a difference to the environment.
In order to be able to revegetate, we wouldn't be able to do it without the funding. We don't have the resources to pay for replacing plants in a place like this. We would just have continued to work and hoped that the natives slowly reintroduce themselves. We're just giving it a bit of a kickstart with the funding. Make it happen faster.